Welcome, everybody, to our monthly Second Saturdays poetry reading. My name is Dan Kerr, and I have the privilege of being your moderator for today's program, which is going to be hosted by Kathy Donnelly. And we welcome you here today. Please remember to keep your microphone muted throughout out of respect for the other poets. Feedback is a gift, so I have a very easy email there. It's Daniel B. The B is for Basil if you're interested. Daniel B. Kerr at Verizon.net. If you do have any feedback, something you like, something you think we could do better, please send it to me. Kathy and I meet regularly and we review all the feedback. And this program really has evolved over the last 3 years, largely as a result of input that we got from the poets who attend. Our planned agenda, we started a little bit late, so we'll go a little bit late. We're loosely supposed to go from 11 to 12. Sequence is as follows. I'll get everybody settled. I'll turn it over to Kathy. Kathy will read a poem or two and present our featured poet today, who's Victoria Twomey. There is an opportunity after Victoria, as the featured reader, reads her poems, for anyone who's on the line to read one of their poems. So if you want to participate in the open read, please enter your name in chat, and I will monitor that. I see there's already 3 names in there, so that's great. So the chat is open throughout. So when you, if you want to read, just put your name in chat, and I will call upon the people in the order they appear. And if I miss anyone, we'll make sure that everyone has an opportunity. And then Kathy will bring back Kathy for some concluding remarks after Victoria comes back after the open read and does an encore. You're not here for evangelization, you're here for poetry, but I do want to call your attention to 3 things that we do at the All Souls, which has quite a few of the poets have participated in. So we do a concert every month called Saturday at 6. So the next group there is going to be Lost and Stellar. And it's a group of undergraduate students from Stony Brook University. They're all mentees of Tom Manuel from the Jazz Loft. Normally they're graduate students. And I look at these graduate students and I'm about to introduce them as graduate students. And then I suddenly realize they're undergraduate students. So they're part of a youth movement there. So that's in the church. That's September 2nd. We also do the poetry. It's some of you are here today, no doubt, for Victoria, and you may be joining us for the first time. Please know we do this every month, so you can set your watch by it. The second Saturday of each month, we do. We've been doing them virtually now the last 3 years. We do this poetry second Saturday of each month. Also, we do Native American drumming as well. There's our Native American drummer. We do that the 4th Thursday of the month. If you're not familiar with Native American drumming, want to learn more about it, just send me a note and I'll be happy to send you more information on it. We do that every month as well. Once a year, and you'll recognize the people up there on the altar there, once a year we do something unique. We combine all our 3 outreach programs. So we combine Native American drumming. You'll see the drummer up there. We combine poetry. You'll see all the poets, many of you know. And we bring in students from the university and Dan Kinney, our organist there up in the left-hand side. And we combine all 3 into a program that was created by Carmen Bugan called Conversations with the Sacred. What happens is these are the sacred poems on the left that are read. And then after each poem, you have a musical interlude as well. So we did that was last Saturday. We'll be doing that again in 2024. As soon as I get the dates, I'll update you. And if anyone wants to be part of that program for next year, just let me know. And then also something the poets are very much involved in. Those of you who remember the church, and we used to do it in the church, you know it's a beautiful structure. But when that All Souls was built in 1896, designed by Stanford White, life expectancy in the US was less than 50 years. So handicapped accessibility was not on their radar screen. The church has never had a bathroom. We have to send people to the deli at the bottom of the hill. If you're going to be meeting people where they are, you really need to have a bathroom. So what we're doing with this race, it's a celebration of the role of the church in the community and all the different things that we do, but also it raises funds to make the church fully accessible and to put a bathroom actually attached to the church as well. So we do that once a year. That's coming up on our 15th year. The date this year is Sunday, October 1st. And Sharon Doyle started this a number of years ago. Each year there's a group of poets who walk, and they proudly walk under the banner of the Live Poets Society. So we haven't had any poets that have run yet. So if anyone wants to run running poets, we certainly welcome them. But if you want to walk Please join us for October 1st. And please, if you do come, march under the Live Poets Society banner. So with that, I will turn it over to Kathy, who will take it from here. Kathy, over to you.
Okay. So welcome, everyone. We've quite a group here, 20 people, Victoria. That's lovely. I'm going to start by reading a poem. Am I loud enough for everybody?
You're fine.
Yes? Okay. I'm going to read a poem by someone who lived right in our neighborhood here named Lewis Simpson. He has since left us, but he left quite a legacy of work behind. I'm going to read a very short poem because I want to read Victoria's bio, and here it goes. Of note, he was a courier in World War II, running messages from one camp to the next, and each time threatening his own life. So he's quite a person. And there's a poem that speaks to this courier business that's 30 pages long in one of his books in the library. Really amazing. The poem is called Today. On days like this, I rush to the pencil sharpener. The hours pass unnoticed. On a writing table, in chairs and corners, in folds of a sunlit curtain, the touch of a woman lingers. One of my favorites. Victoria Twomey is a pushcart nominated poet and an award-winning artist. Her poems have been published in several anthologies in newspapers and online, including Big City Lit, The High Window, The Long Island Quarterly, the Tipton Poetry Journal, Verse Virtual, the Agape Review, the Trovel Review, and the Raven's Perch. Her poem Pieta was nominated for a Pushcart Prize, while Paradise was a finalist in the 2022 Rash Award in Poetry contest from Broad River Review. And White Dress on a Clothesline was awarded the 95th Moon Prize from Writing in a Woman's Voice. She was the featured American poet in the winter 2022 issue of The High Window. Her full-length debut book of poetry, Glimpse, was published in April of 2023 by Kelsey Books. A recent review from Alan Walritz, author of The Story of the Milkman and Other Poems, quote unquote, in Glimpse. Actually, Glimpse is what's in quotes. The title poem of her new collection, Victoria Twomey, calls for us to pause, share this momentary clarity, and assures us this will reveal something calm and true. As we read, we come to trust her to provide at least a glimpse of what might be better in us and in our world. Though the poet knows the world can sometimes be hard or dark, she always retains faith in the beauty of it and us. Twomey is an accomplished visual artist who makes many beautiful things. Here, she makes new ones, but out of words. The poems in Glimpse will engage you and leave you hopeful, even if you have thought hope was in short supply many times. Victoria, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much, Daniel and Kathy. I'm so happy to be here. This is great. I'm so happy to have an opportunity to read some of my work, spread it around. I hope some of the things that I'm going to read touch you today. That's my greatest hope for my work. So I'm going to start with something very short. It's called Miracles and Sorrows. Poor Death, so bored, so certain, unable to close his gaping jaw, waiting a lifetime with his one trick mouth, while we cling to our delicate thread, dangling for a moment in sanctified light, mortals swinging from miracles to sorrows and back again. And this is the poem, title poem from my book, Glimpse. You are lying on the side of the road with silent eyes, having wandered away from the arms of the wild. I am uncertain how to name you, little child of nature. Thick, coarse fur, the wrong color for a fox, not dog, not beaver, not weasel. Do names really matter now that you are empty of your prancing and hunting, your joy of field, of tree root and stream? The day is warming, the wind is gently lifting your limp tail, as if a wandering spirit has slipped inside you in search of purity. What ceremony shall there be for your silent body so close to the spires of the fragrant cathedral? What sacrament for a sinless creature in no need of forgiveness? The crows know best how to sing the hymns. The flies will dance and pray with golden wings, prepare you for the cleansing rain. In mutual silence, let us share this momentary clarity, this starlight blinking between the whispering leaves, this glimpse of something calm and true, this acceptance that one day we will meet again, move from simplicity to simplicity as one. Waiting embrace. Lying back on a black satin sheet in your sequined gown, stippled courtesan to the alpha and the omega, moons ringing your neck like pearls, iridescent breasts plump as star clusters, dark hair lying long as a light year from one heaven to another, lips the color of Martian soil, arms endless, spread open in promise of holy ruin, as if to say, take it slow and don't worry, I am the fated traveler's velvet dream. I have given my forever love to everyone from Eden to Ursa Major. There will be no going back when we embrace in glittered desire, when I burn you down into a single tongue of flame and finally make of you an echo of that one small light. Addition and subtraction. How much does the sky weigh at any one time when counting all things that fly, that intermingle and evaporate, that rise and fall, all things hidden from our view? Do the gods calculate such things standing on the clouds in their rhinestone sandals? One came to me through my open window on a summer night when I was a child hiding inside my heart. Her hair, a radiant curtain gently lifted, she smelled of cut green grass and wore a dress of soft white moon cloth. She smiled, and when she spoke, a sparkle of fireflies floated out into the air. Believe, she said, and gave me a tiny pearl covered in wings to swallow. Use this to float up to the sky, and you will be counted. What is the power of hope when compared to the density of darkness? What is the weight of the gravity beneath our beds? What is the weight of the sky when we arrive? Do the gods consider such things? And this poem is actually based on something that actually happened. And then I remembered it like 17 years later. So this is kind of a true story. It's called Paradise. We were shopping for homes in the Paradise Estates, driving along the peaceful, perfect streets, identical roof peaks casting serrated shadows on unblemished driveways, bright green rectangular lawns. When we came upon the scene, an old man lying on his back, behind a corner house, two men on their knees, one sweating, pressing his hands rhythmically against the old man's chest, the other breathing every few moments into his mouth. A young cop stood close by, hands on his hips, looking down. An old woman waited anxiously at a slight distance, searching the face of the officer for a clue, a magic trick, a miracle. One hand up to her mouth in fear, the other holding the old man's hat, as if he might rise at any moment and need it back. Say, I'm fine, you're being silly, dear, as if the officer in his blue uniform might flash his youthful smile and conclude in an official sort of way, this was all a big mistake. Here is your husband. We give him back to you perfect, peaceful, immortal. And today, here is this poem rising up in my mind like a shrill cicada, buried for 17 years, awakened and flexing its tymbals, the strange memory of a day long forgotten, driving through the utopian streets of paradise. Stadium gods. I hear heaven is full of ethereal beings watching over the edge of their stadium balcony, tossing fistfuls of diamonds across the universe, glittering like promises, like offering for the world's turning below. It is said that when they cry, it rains, and when they all sigh, the wind blows. Is that thunder, or are they pounding their feet, urging me to do better, cheer up and believe? Now they are holding candles bright as lightning, swaying in their golden thrones like a wave, illuminating the sky below their feet, so very far above in their soaring balcony, all of them looking forward, not down, I sometimes fear, clapping their shimmering wings for some glowing star god, bits of feathers twirling down as snow. Constant window. I open my heart to find you, unfasten the bright round buttons of the starlit sky, reach into the black felt cloak of silence. Feeling along time's flattened breast, my fingertips push through porous ribs, scattering a heart-shaped cloud of dust. Searching forbidden inky pockets, I find the note you left me written in a teacher's hand, saying, I am right here, the palm of my hand forever pressing against my side of the constant window. Look again, this time from your side. See, the glass is as wide and blue as the sky. To touch me, you need only raise your palm and press it up against the heavens. White dress on a clothesline. And this was prompted by driving down a country road and seeing a white dress on a clothesline behind a farmhouse. And this story popped into my mind. I said, why is it there? The farmhouse is abandoned. So who has left this delicate cotton cloth, hand sewn with care to fit a young girl's shape, with its small white buttons, its white lace collar, pinned at the shoulders on this worn clothesline behind this empty farmhouse. The cloth is thin and made for dense summer days, when this tree above would have been fertile, when there would have been birds singing, a song for rising, a song for resting, a song by which to wander, a song to call the children home. More empty than the broken chairs on the collapsing porch. This abandoned house will soon be embraced by wild, come to claim, consume, console. One day it will call this cotton dress with its blue satin ribbon about the waist to rejoin the brown earth. This empty white dress, uplifted and released, ascending and descending in the chilly breeze. Velvet pouch. The man at the parlor door, in the understated gray suit, the respectful tie, wearing the perfect smile for his line of work, who with well-rehearsed and subtle ceremony placed a small velvet pouch upon my open palms, carefully, as if it was a bag of diamonds. A regal dark blue sack, soft to the touch, drawn tight at the top with a golden string, an unexpected weight of bone and ash. A fountain of liquid glass can rise like clear flowing fire in the body, release outsighted spillways, and still not help the drowning heart. It will get easier, he said, knowing better than I, my pocket of dust was not my father humming a song, not the same as remembering he would have wanted me to write this poem. The man in the suit was well versed in the business of what lingers long after the aroma of so sorry flowers. You will see, he said. I did not understand. I did not believe him until now. Candy hearts. Even now I recall, before you fell into that river making its way to the sea, how when this faithful daughter dropped the morphine upon your tongue, you opened your mouth like a baby bird, perceiving only flickering lights and darting shadows. Even then, I believed you would rise and walk again, as if miracles are handed out as easily as candy hearts to the good fathers, who, according to the laws of my bewildered mind, must remain glued to the spine of life, as if all your days were like the endless pages in an immortal book, decorated with tarot-like paintings of all the indelible people you had been, the son, the brother, the father, the mentor, the joker, the imperfect prince, the teacher, the musician, the artist, the lover, the husband, the friend. But never the ghost, left empty-handed, passed over for a needed miracle. Even then I believed you were the swimmer, too strong to be drowned in an ocean of stars. Questions for the dead. When was it that you began your journey, beloved traveler? Were you already elsewhere as I watched your chest strain to rise and fall, and clouds slowly fill your eyes? Were you carried along by an indigo river, tender and wide, in the arms of a precious lover beneath an antique moon? Was your mother calling you to supper as your father stoked the fire? Were you floating upward to greet your brother as he waved to you from the top of an emerald hill? Or did you depart as I, your weary disciple, slept nearby? Or was it when the snow, bitter white, fell downward, a final curtain from the dark, indifferent heavens, leaving me with your empty coat, your walking stick, and the taste of ashes upon my tongue? Let us lie down. Let us lie down and sink to the bottom of this day, with eternity filling our mouths and stars swimming about our tongues. Let us lie down until we are covered by the night. I will drink time from your lips and savor the seconds one by one, as we fall like pebbles into the liquid mirror of love, as you caress my shadow and I worship your reflection. Let us have all of summer in one night, until there is nothing left but glowing embers in the darkness. Let us go on despite the bewildering machinations of the gods, for there is time enough for the sadness of nevermore, the delicacy of brittle bones, and the journey beyond memory. For now, tonight, in this candlelit room, it is always today, and it is always time for love. Okay, I have a couple more, Daniel.
Should be okay, Victoria.
Okay. One more moment in the light. Before I flow like dark ink into a sleeping cup of indigo blue, what shall my final longing be? For one more canary-colored dawn, or the brave burnt orange ending of the autumn leaf flaming until the last? Will I long for warm red-lipped poppies kissing the air, or to feel the vibrating bees hovering sweet and golden over a high-spirited meadow? Today, there is a quiet song of awakening in the empty bowl of morning. Let me fill it to the brim with humble thanksgiving for one more moment in the light. And one more. My secret recipe. I love this poem. Some things in life, like jazz and oysters, are best when eaten raw, while smiles and strawberries will go with anything. Some things in life, like hope and croissants, should always be kept warm, while sex and sauté pans should really be preheated. Some things in life, like joy and chocolate, delight and thrill the palate, while kindness and bread sustain until day's end. Oh yes, and don't forget to stir.
That was wonderful, Victoria.
Thank
Just
you.
every one of the poems, the beginning with the miracles and sorrow and that transition and the glimpse of the animal lying by the side of the road, empty of its prancing, and the way the embrace, just beautiful. The addition and subtraction, and the looking up at the sky, and in paradise, just the image of that woman, poor woman waiting for her husband, and the young policeman is an image I think that all of us will long remember. And the stadium, the gods, the stadium in heaven, just having come from the Colosseum, that really resonated. Colosseum in Rome, and the black felt coat, and the white clothesline sitting on the line, and the emptiness, the empty farmhouse, and the speculation, that velvet pouch, just beautiful. If anyone who's ever had any experience with the ashes of a loved one, and the candy hearts and the questions for the dead, just a wonderful emotional journey that you took us on. We all thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Here, here.
Okay, we're going to move into the open read, and just we'll all look forward to Victoria's coming back for an encore. So let me just call up here for the new folks. We have some parameters, some commandments, if you like, for the open read. So, we'll call the people in the order that they appeared in chat, and we'll call you in groups of 3, so you won't be surprised. It gets a little bit tricky if we have people with the same first name, but we'll navigate that. Please, only one poem and no more than 5 minutes for the poem. Keep your microphones muted until you're called upon. And I got a typo. I do make errors. So the poet laureate, Richard Bronson, is going to be with us today. So Richard, if you want to say something at the end as a visitor, you can. We generally, it's supposed to go till 12, but we have a number of people who want to read today. So my guess is we'll probably go up until about 12:30 max would be my guess. So please try to follow those parameters as we go into the open read. So let me clear the screen, and we'll call people in groups of 3. And the first group of 3 that we have is Marvin, followed by Bob, followed by Karen. Karen, you spelled your name in a variety of ways, but I think we only have one Karen today, so that'll be you. So Marvin, over to you. Please remember when you're called upon to turn on your mic. Marvin,
can you hear me, Dan?
Loud and clear, and you're there with your mustache as well.
Okay. The name of the poem is At the Door. From Treblinka, I came to America, married a good woman. Clara, my compass, led me around my nightmares to the safety of her arms. A home she made, warmed by her smile, lit by her dignity, The shadows began to crawl away, humbled by her cheer. Max, don't worry, you are free. No one is at the door but friends. Smile a little more. That's a good boy. That's my Maxie. I began to settle in. This land became a sofa, cushioning my fears. Clara, friends, rest. Time to drink some schnapps. I began to settle in. Then one day a face appeared, pushed through the doors of the number 9, pressed up against mine at the center pole. In his eyes I heard my mother's plea. In his eyes I felt a sour heart. In his eyes I heard him bark, Arbeiten, Arbeiten. In his eyes I saw the smoke, wire and the bones, his boots glistening through the smoke in his eyes. His boots walked him out. At Times Square, I think it was. He didn't look back, but then again the train pulled away. I couldn't see. He may have looked. That night I lay in Clara's arms, hoping she was my mother, before he pointed her away. Morning came. I took the bus. The driver looked familiar.
Thank you, Marvin. Very, very moving. Okay, over to Bob.
Okay, hi folks. Okay, this is from my information series. Information. It is about the experience that it gives you. That is its meaning. The mailbox filled with popcorn is no more than that. It is the reason there are pockets, the reason that you were able to find a voice in the forest, in the ocean, in the animal that is always silent. The reason there is counting, long after there is nothing more to count. Thank you.
Karen, over to you. Karen, you got to come off mute. Turn your mic on. We'll wait for you. There you go. You're on.
Sorry about that.
You were worth waiting for, Karen. Go ahead.
Okay. This is called Afterward. After they plan a mother-daughter weekend, the mother takes to her bed. The daughter forgets the event they were planning. Her mother has other thoughts, thinks this disease of hers a ruination, rises from her bed, plants herself firmly in a chair with regal insistence, her hair washed and combed, hawk-like in her vigil. She gathers all she can of her body's strength, pillow tucked behind her head, feet on ground until upright. She wanted to sit, the hospice nurse says plainly, and she did with dogged insistence, making it her call to greet the messenger. For what? To whom? Her daughter later wonders, except there is no one there to ask. The familiar landscape gone, changed by dreams deferred, masked by sorrows, small joys, smoldering grievances.
Thank you, Karen. Well done. Okay, we've got James, followed by Marguerite, and then followed by JR. So James, over to a representative of the great state of North Carolina.
Okay, hope my southern accent doesn't get in the way. There you go. It's my favorite poem about Paul. He's our guy that's been taking care of the house and things. Paul is our perfect favorite friend whose parents are no longer here. We became his second parents, being 20 years older than he is. He has been our do-it-all handyman, and as a Jack and Paul of all trades. Our lives are impossible without him. God has given Paul to us as a gift. Many great words will describe Paul. He is thoughtful and conscientious, has been marvelous and mild-mannered, with our best interest in his mind. Our needs continually come first with him. Best interests remain in his mind. Wish we had the great qualities Paul has. He remains close to both God and Jesus. He devoutly prays to God and his Son. They tell him what is right, and he does it. He is a great guy while being very friendly. These are the best ways to describe Paul I can think of. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds like Paul, sounds like an angel sent to you. So, Marguerite, over to you.
Thank you. And thank you, Victoria. It was a wonderful reading. My poem is titled Two Words. A cloud-filled powder blue sky above. It's another day without you. Only pictures, your kids, memories, and these poems prove you existed. Scrolling through your Instagram in search for a picture for my book's cover, it has to be one of yours, another loop placed upon your resume belt. Poof, a hashtag you post to childhood pics of your late brother Tommy in 2015. It's 18 months since you disappeared. The sky feels empty, even though God fills it with puffy white clouds. Some days I smile in secrecy, hearing Frank called out, meant for someone else, reading Montauk on the back of cars or seeing it on News 12 weather. You are remembered, and all of this makes me wish you were alongside us still. Today, I notice your nature photos, pristine as the places you took them. Another hat you wore added to your many talents. I set plans to leave anthologies full of poems on your childhood doorstep. For your surviving family, they, like your stoop, remember you. Inside my gift bag, I place my words. They hold your footprints now, your tracks measured by miles, documented in ink. Proof lives inside this book, carrying your memory. Tommy and you share a metaphor today, missed by the lives you once touched, air you once breathed, and the people you once drawn in to love you. Now all of this is brought to a closure in two words. Poof, gone.
Thank you, Marguerite. Very moving. Okay, JR.
Good morning, all. Thank you, Victoria. That was amazing. Oh, the utopian streets of paradise. Oh, in the white dress. Oh, I'll remember a lot. I'm celebrating Dog Speak. I'm getting closer. I'm actually going to be sending North Shore Animal League a check very soon. But play Poetry Roulette. Victoria, I'm picking a number from 1 to 24.
24.
Okay. Okay. So it's 24 poems in 24 hours. So this was after staying up 24 hours. A lot of the poems in the book are funny, and they're all in the voice of dogs. So this is the end, and I knew it was the end, and so it's a little different than a lot of the book. But so the book is called Dog Speak. This is called Serious Speak. I know you don't like serious conversations, but we need to discuss something. It's important. I need to know that you will be okay when I have to leave. No, I don't know anything. You don't. I just have to be sure while I'm here that you will find a life without me. We've had fun together, laughed, cried, learned what we want and like, what makes us who we are, what keeps us together as a team, as family, as soulmates. So wait a little while and get another dog. You're not replacing me. You're taking on my spirit in a different breed and color and temperament. Don't think I'll make it easier for you. Training is important. Thanks. I'm glad we had this talk. Carry on. Okay, let's play. Can I throw the ball this time? And part of that apparently was recited by Munchkin. So there must be a bunny on the front lawn. Thank you.
Thank you, JR. What a wonderful way to end that series of beautiful poems in the voice of dogs. That was just great. Okay, next group of three is Hiram and Emily Sue. And this will be a group of two because Karen, I had your name down a couple of times. So unless there's the second Karen, Hiram and then Emily Sue. Hiram?
Great. Thanks, Dan, and thanks to Kathy and for organizing us all, and to Victoria for offering us her terrific poems. And JR, that's just a wonderful last poem in your book. Thanks for writing and sharing it. This poem is overfilled, an overfilled horn of plenty. It appeared in a small journal called The Rumen, and its title is Abundance. Come every blackboard and shoreline. Come dawn walks or weed seeds. Come tips of wings, and come alleys and neon signs or soup bowls. Come one and all. And come hopes and needs. Come all moonlight or muskrats. Come sextants and scriptures, or arrows and spaceships. Come card tricks and washcloths, and especially bees. And come all corners grinning, and barns. Come running or crawling or spinning. Come tragic and joyful. Come lilies or fleas, and graveyards or mud nests. Come windows wide open and gushes. Come holding tight to moreover. Come tossing the salads with teas while counting the ways. And most of all, please, come backwards and forwards, super or duper, under but over, as ever you can. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Hiram. That was great. Probably the most inclusive poem I've ever heard. That was really great. Okay, Emily Sue, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Victoria. Your poems are so beautiful. And thanks, Dan and Kathy, for organizing us. I'm going to read one that appeared in the Raven's Perch. It's called September Came Early. Autumn slipped into August under the full moon's gaze. Such audacity. No sooner had night begun to intrude upon the day, and cicadas' cadences risen to celebrate evening sweep, then squirrels got busy tossing green acorns into coffers, and bees asserted fierce authority over all things sweet. Last night an owl swooped low on silent wings that shivered the air. Thanks.
Thank you, Emily Sue. That was a great reminder that we share the night with all of our four-legged friends. Well, thank you. Okay, so the next group is group of three is Chris, followed by Jack, followed by Dan. So Chris, over to you. Chris?
Hello.
Yep, you're there.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. So I'm gonna do this poem, and it's gonna be called Mets Kids. Can anybody hear me?
You're fine, Chris. You're fine. We can see it. We can see the visual in back of you as well.
Okay. All right. Mets Kids. A group of 20 teenagers parading in car number 2000 of the 7 train, leaving the city field at Flushing, all matching with white home jerseys, rounded hems around each neck, all appliques transferred with heat from last names, numbers, team, to the Batman logo from MLB, all officially licensed with the Nike symbol stamped on the tag. They're chanting, "We are the champions" by Queen and Queens. Some standing on passenger seats with two strangers seated, swinging on bars and poles, mad-libbing their excitement because they couldn't contain themselves to complete this particular sentence. The Mets beat the Orioles 5-1. Some sit, some stand, speaking out of turn with a smile under the dying passenger lights. Recaps about those balls flying to their rows at the field level, but couldn't catch one of the 3 home runs made by both teams. Girls with dope dreams pose in those jeans. Boys huddle for a play, it seems. Protein shakes and boba teas slightly spilling on their white ups in the express ride, shaking on tracks, trying to skip stops smoothly, screws be loosely holding things down for party people on the 7 line. The kids got out on 61st Woodside 5 minutes before the overpass collapse on Court Square, and just in time, they run down the graffiti steps and across the platform and enter car number 2000 on the LIRR eastbound to Rockville Center on the Babylon line and party once more with sweat sheening their rough skin under the beaming light, hopping up and down, grinning in their crooked teeth without Invisalign, without a care on who was the player of the game or even their names. As I'm recording the moment, I asked the Mets kids about what happened, and they said the Mets beat the Orioles 5-1. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. As I recall, the Mets beat the Orioles in 1969 as well.
Yeah. I'm
That was-
sorry I'm outside. I was in the rain. So
That's great. But thank you for sharing that. As a Yankee fan, I particularly appreciated that. So, okay.
The Mariners beat Baltimore too.
Keep up the good work. Okay. Okay, we're over to Jack.
Hey, hi. Okay, this is called The Burden. What is that pulls me here? Why do I carry this burden? I look towards the horizon while the water's waves crash on the shoreline. I want to let these burdens go. I know I have roads to go and work to do. Today, I stand barefoot on the sand as the cool waters hold my toes, inviting me to release the unnecessary burdens I've carried so long on the road. The cool waters flow again at the feet, and I release with a sigh from the deepest part of my bones. I believe now I can return to the road with easy feet and free hands. Now it is I and the work before me.
Thank you, Jack. Well done. Okay, the next poem is by Dan, and this I just got word that this will appear in Bard's Annual in 2023 edition. And Kathy reminds me oftentimes that people are here for poetry, not for evangelization. And I do talk about the church somewhat, but one of the things that I think is unique about the church is our mission statement that says we're all on a spiritual journey and we meet people wherever they are on this spiritual journey. So this is a poem about the very special relationship between two people, which on the surface were on a very different journey, but they found one another in a very special way. And it celebrates the relationship between the Anglican Bishop of Cape Town, Desmond Tutu, and the Dalai Lama. And it's called Dancing with the Dalai Lama. Dancing with the Dalai Lama. Not wanting to piss off China, South Africa did not allow the Dalai Lama to attend Desmond Tutu's 80th birthday party. Never willing to be bullied by powerful cowards, Bishop Tutu flew to India to celebrate the 80th birthday of his friend, an Anglican bishop and a Buddhist monk. two octogenarians not afraid to speak truth to power. As the elderly bishop disembarked the plane, the Dalai Lama hugged his friend and knocked off his bishop's hat. "Why do you always knock off my hat?" the bishop asked. The Dalai Lama responded, "I like you more when you smile, and too many religious leaders never smile." "You are mischievous, Your Holiness, and you are mischievous too," the Dalai Lama said, "when you confronted those who put burning tires around the necks of informers back in South Africa during apartheid, when you blessed the wedding of your daughter to another woman, when you led the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, and when you told all South Africans they must forgive the perpetrators of horrible crimes." As they gathered around a birthday cake with 80 candles, Bishop Tutu said with a Cheshire cat grin, "Blow out the candles, Your Holiness." No matter how hard the Dalai Lama blew, the candles would not go out. The bishop had seen to it that the cake was filled with reigniting candles, which he personally put on the cake. "You are mischievous, Bishop Tutu, and you are mischievous too, Your Holiness. When you made this arduous journey into exile to India 60 years ago, when you told your people to pray for their oppressors, when you told the Chinese government that they would have no voice in deciding whether you would be reincarnated as a god or as a cockroach. Every time you use your exile as a forum to impact the world and do good, you are mischievous." 2,000 Tibetan children in exile sang "Happy Birthday" and "We Are the Children" as the Dalai Lama danced for the first time in his life, mimicking the well-honed boogie of his African friend. Two old friends embraced and shared joy. As a reporter asked, "How can you still be joyful with so much sadness in the world? And the two of you have suffered so much in your 80 years filled with oppression." The Dalai Lama and the bishop both smiled and spoke with one voice. "Buddhism, Christianity, and neuroscience teach us three things we all must do to experience joy. Let go of hurts, focus on things that make a world a better place, and always make an effort to help others. South Africa is free, and someday Tibet will be too. These three simple rules guide these Tibetan children singing so beautifully today and should guide all of us as well." Thank you. Okay, so we have one more scheduled reader, and then we'll do a completeness check. We'll give anyone else an opportunity. Kathy or Dr. Bronson, if you want to read. So Herb, over to you. Got to come off mute.
Okay, here we go. Okay, this poem is from the manuscript Adam and Eve in the 20th Century, and it will appear in the 2023 Bard's Annual. Light and warmth. They lounge in front of their fireplace in a meditative manner. They've turned off all the lights in the apartment and have lit a couple candles. Their living room is scented with burning wood. There's almost complete silence. The only sounds are soft crackles from the fireplace and an incessant seashore drone coming from cars and trucks on a nearby highway. Adam remembers how, a few years ago, he was lounging by the fireplace like this, but back then he was alone. He remembers his thoughts and feelings from that time and says, "The seashore drone from the highway haunts me like I'm standing on a secluded shoreline, looking over a night-obscured ocean." Before we met, late at night, when it was quiet and no one was out or about, I used to feel like the only human left in this town. The highway sounds made me imagine that people passed nearby. Then, oh dear. Yes, the fire alarm is 12 o'clock. Oh dear. So go on for about a minute. That's what I got living
Herb,
like.
we don't hear it, so continue. Just go ahead. We don't hear it.
I don't know what. I feel like everything's been ruined now. That's what I get for living right next to the firehouse.
Okay,
I don't even know where to begin.
okay, okay. So we'll go, I'll give you a minute or two to catch and we'll come back to you. How's that?
Yeah, it stopped.
Okay, then just continue at the beginning of the last stanza.
Okay, I don't even know quite when that was, but
Take
all
a
right.
breath, Herb. It's okay. We never heard the alarms anyway, as Dan pointed out. Just relax. Start at the last stanza. Pick a stanza.
I was, I meant this as a tribute to my wife, and now it's been destroyed, so I'm not.
It is not destroyed. It's
not happy about this. But anyway, all right. I used to feel like the only human left in this town. The highway sounds made me imagine that people passed nearby, then they all continued driving to some distant destination. I felt that not one knew or would even care that I was the only human left here. Do you know what I mean? Eve looks toward Adam's puzzled orange-tinted face. She replies softly, I think I do. I think that you felt yourself apart from nature and apart from other people's self. But don't worry about it too much, Adam. We have each other and we also have friends. These gifts quiet disquieting muses. Well, we're sure eloquent tonight, aren't we? Let's just relax and stare into our fireplace. Adam smiles. He kisses Eve gently. He looks round the shadowy room. Then he turns and looks deeply into Eve's bright emerald eyes. They're luminous like the candles, and like the fire, they radiate warmth. He whispers, we humans need light and warmth. Nature generates it for our outer self, while love generates it for our inner self. Eve smiles and warmly hugs him. Thank you.
Well done, Herb. Well done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go around. Let me change the view here a little bit. I'm going to clear up some space here. Okay, so anyone who hasn't read, if you want to read, just wave your hand and I'll be happy. So Virginia, I don't know if you feel motivated or anyone else wants to read. Kathy, if not, maybe I'll go to you.
Sure. I want to say thank you, Victoria, but here I am reading a poem of my own. I just want to speak to something that I find interesting. Everyone here has a body of work, sometimes divided in books, one book, many books, maybe just loose poems because you've never published, but there'll be that poem that is your signature poem. I immediately think of Judy and her poem about hair. I mean, I'll never forget it, and I haven't heard it in years. So I'm not choosing your signature poem, Judy, but that was amazing. And I have, I think, a signature poem, and it's really a poem about adaptation, letting things go, although I look to make you laugh. And it's called Spring Cleaning. And it goes like this. When you said you were coming to visit, I noticed the cobwebs in every corner, so took down every domicile of my quiet eight-legged tenants. Because you said you were coming, I found the clothesline to hang linens, laundered towels, fluffed pillows, vacuumed, washed dishes contented where they were piled. So excited was I that you were coming, I put the books back on the bookshelf, filed papers, dusted lampshades, and with a soft cotton cloth, wiped family photos you'd wish to see. When you called and said you were not coming, I was not sorry to have done a spring cleaning. Perhaps you should tell me to expect you around this time each year.
Well done, Kathy. That is, of all your poems, that's my favorite as well.
So
is there anyone else who would like to read? We just do a quick scan of the audience here. Anyone else want to read? Going once, going twice? Don't see anyone waving. Kathy, you don't see anyone waving, do you?
I don't. Richard, did you
Oh,
want to?
I see Wendy.
Oh, Wendy.
Go ahead, Wendy. Come off mute.
I had to see if the dogs would quiet down. Considering the chapel is where you're broadcasting from, I hope this is appropriate. The quest. One day a woman went in search of God. The first stop she made was at a synagogue. She asked the rabbi, "How will I find God?" His reply was, "Take the Torah, study it, and you will find God." The next place she stopped at was a mosque. She asked the imam, "How will I find God?" The imam answered, "Take this prayer rug, face Mecca, and pray 5 times a day, and you will find God." So the woman took the prayer rug and walked on. The next place she stopped was at a church. She asked the nun, "How will I find God?" The nun replied, "Take this rosary, pray it every day, and you will find God." The woman took the rosary and walked on. The next place the woman came to was a Mormon temple. She stopped a teenager leaving the temple. She asked him, "How will I find God?" The teenager handed her the Book of Mormon and said, "Read it, and you will find God." The next place she stopped at was a Buddhist temple. She asked the monk, "How will I find God?" He handed her a statue of the Buddha and said, "Seek enlightenment, and you will find God." The woman now had many things to carry and contemplate. As she continued to walk, she realized she had left the city behind and was in a forest. As her load and thoughts had grown heavier and heavier, she decided to rest. She sat down next to a pond. The pond was a place of life and peace. There were insects flying over it, animals and birds drinking from it, and fish swimming in it. As her mind and body were weary from all she had heard and all she was carrying, she decided to refresh herself and take a drink from the pond. When she looked down at the water and saw the reflection of all that was, she knew her quest had ended.
Thank you, Wendy. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to the gallery. Okay, anyone else want to read? Okay, I don't see any other hands, so we'll be welcome back Victoria for her encore. Victoria, over to you.
Okay, this poem is called Neither Kindness Nor Cruelty. Though the man was sure he had taught her a lesson she would never forget with the orderly cut of his sharp metal plow, the wild, in no hurry, laughed as she kept time with her flying dandelion clocks, her circling hawks, her loyal following of shadows. She was a being he did not understand, who spoke with Dopplered wing songs, slimy croaking toads, one-note owls. She was a self-sufficient metamorphic who understood the history of the wind, what it might bring, what it might take away. Having axed his chickens, fenced his cows, mastered his porch-dwelling dog, and the horse that pulled his plow, the man was sure he could command her to follow his seasons of need. She was patient with his folly, knowing someday, with her slow and inevitable entanglements, her clever raccoons, her hungry moles and rabbits, her legions of stem borers, podsuckers, aphids, and weevils, she would reclaim his ordered field. With neither kindness nor cruelty, with the help of the sun and rain, she knew she would pull down his barn and give it to the bats and spiders, then bring his plow to its broken, rusted knees. In time, when his widow buried him beneath a tree and made an offering of his body, the wild gathered him in, embraced him with her encircling roots, loved him deeply until they were one.
Thank you, Victoria. Beautiful. Okay, Kathy, I'll turn it over to Kathy for any concluding remarks and to introduce announce the next poet. Kathy,
I would just like to speak to Glimpse and say it was a marvelous read. I enjoyed it. It took me out of my earthly existence and into a sort of journey into the stars, inward into my soul. And I highly recommend this book. And Victoria, how would anyone get a hold of it if they wanted it?
I put the links, there are 3 ways: Amazon, Kelsey Books, or also on my Etsy site where I sell my art. And also you can get a signed copy of the book on my Etsy site. So the link, I can post it in the chat again, or I'll put it in the chat
Yes.
one time.
Good, good. Okay, somebody spoke to Wendy. You said this is coming from the chapel. It is not. The beauty of Zoom is that we all get to roll out of bed and be there without any commute. And when I look at, we have like over 20 people here today. Most of you couldn't come if we weren't on Zoom. So it originated in the chapel. Gladys Henderson, being Episcopalian, in fact, a nun in her day, connected us to this chapel that I live down the street from. The doors are open from morning till evening, as Dan points out. So you can walk in and do whatever you want. There's a beautiful stained glass high sign, which was a gift to this Episcopalian church. And basically it opens itself up to. Is someone talking to me?
I think that's just background noise. I'll take care of it. Thanks.
Okay. So basically what I want to say is
Yeah, but your timing was very good. I was almost finished.
okay, that there was a discussion Dan and I had about moving back to the chapel, but it creates this huge commute that we're going to stay on Zoom. So I believe it's coming out of Dan's office. True? Dan, it's in your house?
Yes, and James reminds me I ought to. He thinks these are the only books I have, the ones over my shoulder.
So we all get to roll out of bed and not even get out of our pajamas to be on the Zoom, which I think is a real hoot. You can eat your breakfast, you can have a coffee, you can, sit back and relax and enjoy this on a Saturday morning once a month. And I think we're going to keep it that way. We'll see, things change all the time. Even a hybrid is very cumbersome. God bless the ones that do it. Linda does it, Linda Dickman, and a few others, but I think it's too much rigmarole. So I'm going to just let everyone know that next month we have a very special poet. His name is Sandy McIntosh, born in Rockville Center. He has a BA from Southampton College, an MFA from Columbia University, and a PhD from Union Graduate School. I'm going to leave it there because there's a lot to read, and I'll read it next month. For now, look forward to Sandy McIntosh, not to be missed. Truly a great poet. And then that's all I want to say, except have a wonderful Saturday afternoon and month till next time we meet.